On this Good Friday, it's a great privilege to share some words of reflection with the people of Trinity Cathedral. I was raised up to priesthood through the congregation of the cathedral and actually was ordained 10 years ago today. I'm there in the cathedral and presided at my first Eucharist on the 11th of April 10 years ago. And when I found the Episcopal Church through Trinity Cathedral, it completely changed my life. I was raised as a Christian, and this time of year was always very, very important to me, these very holy days. And I remember when I first started going to Trinity, the sense of welcome and the true belief that God really did love everyone, and that I had a place there and my partner had a place there. And we would go on to become members and to have our covenant ceremony there. In fact, Roger and I were the first at the cathedral to have our covenant ceremony. And it just was an amazing place, has always been an amazing place to be, that gathering place, that cathedral for the city, that beacon of welcome and that representation of Christ's love for all. So I remember going to my first Good Friday service at Trinity Cathedral, and at that time there was a service of the 7 last words, and different preachers were invited to give reflections on those various words conflated from the 4 Gospels of what Jesus' last words upon the cross were. And it was such a powerful service. I had never experienced anything like that. And I remember after the service was over, that there was a huge cross with real nails and hammer. And I remember the pounding of the nails into the cross and the way it echoed through the cathedral, and I could feel that the vibrations into my very self. It was just such a powerful experience. And so those were my early memories of the cathedral that really drew me into Christ's love, drew me into the yearning, and then the desire to be a priest. And then you sent me to seminary, the cathedral. And then after seminary, I was called to serve on Bishop Mark's staff. And so I spent the first 10 years of ordained ministry really in the same building, which I had fallen in love with the Episcopal Church in. This Good Friday, it's very interesting that, I was ordained and it was Easter. It was the Saturday after Easter. But this year it's Good Friday. And as with many of you, I don't think we've ever known a Good Friday like this, where we truly, I feel, understand some of what Jesus was going through, that sense of abandonment and loneliness, that sense of fear, the sense of not being sure about how the world has been turned upside down. I've never imagined having a Holy Week where I wouldn't be in a church with God's people. And yet, here we are, doing Holy Week virtually and walking the way of the cross nonetheless. And so today, if you come to the service at Trinity, I believe, many places will read the Gospel of John, and I'm not sure what the custom is for later today. But in churches throughout the world, the Gospel of John will be read. And It's in the Gospel of John that the sixth word of the seven words, usually when you go through the seven last words, is it is finished. The word "it is finished," the Jesus saying "it is finished" right before he dies. And I just would like to spend a few moments thinking about what that means, "it is finished." Because as with so many things that Jesus said, they don't really mean what we think they mean on face value. So "it is finished" for him at that moment meant the suffering, the death on the cross, but certainly the work wasn't finished. The work was just really beginning. As he went through that painful death, we know that it didn't end there, that there was the great story, the great experience of new life, of resurrection. And I think we're wondering about "it is finished." We're wondering, when will it be finished? When will this quarantine and isolation be finished? When will this virus be finished? When will this abnormal way of living be finished? And I think, brothers and sisters, dear people of God, I think that it's just beginning. And what I mean by that is we are being called and invited by God on this very holy day to let the way we were die. And as that part or way of being is finished, to be open to the unimaginable, to the impossible, to the amazing new life of resurrection. May God bless us all.